Hello everyone, welcome to Marlin Chess Kids. Today I show the gameplay by Dmitry and Krikor Sevag, and the game complete beautifully in only 24 moves, with the last move is a rook sacrifice. And let's see how the game play. The game starts with the pawn to d4, knight f6, c4, g6, and knight c3, d5, then the knight to this, and in this position you have the Grunfeld's knight f3 bishop g7 sideline, and the game continue with this white pawn capture the d5, and then the knight capture the d5 pawn. And here this is the first 5 move, and you can see that the white is slightly better in this position. And the game continue with the white develop the bishop to d2, and the black go for a short castling, and this will keep the black in the equal position as the king is away from the center of the board. So after this, the rook to c1, trying to control of the control of the c file, and if the knight exchange, you have the bishop or the rook to capture it back. So black continue develop with the knight to c6, and after this the white play e3, preparing to move the bishop to, either you can go to c4 attack, or you can go to b5 to attack the knight. And after this allowed the king to go for a short castling. Knight b6 was played, and after this the bishop just moved to b5, attacking the knight. And after this the black play e5 pawn, and this you have the idea to have triple pieces attack the d4 pawn, while the black only have 2 pieces protecting it. So the black trying to gain the d4 pawn and get control of the center. So therefore the white just remove one of the pieces, and by capturing the knight, and this will leave 2 pieces and 2 pieces, while the black still have another queen to attack the pawn. So after capture the knight, the pawn e takes d4, and this pawn is attacking the knight. And if this position, if you move bishop takes g7, then the bishop will just capture it. And now you need to move away the knight, and if you capture the pawn, then the black will move the rook up and check first, and therefore now if you move the bishop such as to e3 to defense, and now the black is better with more attacking idea. You can just move the knight to c4 and trying to attack the bishop, and if the pawn capture it back, then the rook will win back the pawn. So this will have more activity for the black to play in this position. Therefore it's always best practice to move the king off the center and go for a castling. So after the pawn capture, the white just use the e takes the pawn, e takes d4, the pawn B takes the bishop, and after this the white just go for a shortcut swing. Then the black move the rook up, rook to e8, and trying to gain the control of the e file. After this, bishop to g5, trying to attack the queen. And here the black play f6 to prevent the attack, and also use the pawn to attack back the bishop. So bishop move to f4, and after this the bishop move to e6, trying to attack the pawn. And here b3 was played. Then the knight moved to the center of the square, knight to d5, trying to attack the knight, or also can attack the bishop. So this is the first 15 move, and you can see that the position is equal. And if you do not capture the knight at d5, then the black will have more activity to play, and you have a more attacking idea for the black. So after this, bishop to g3 was played, and now the knight just capture the knight. After this, the rook takes c3 and capture back the knight. Then the bishop goes to d5, trying to attack the knight, also can continue to attack the pawn at g2. After this, h3 was played, and then the queen to d7, then the queen to d3. And at this position, the black play a5, trying to gain control of the pieces, and now a3 was played. And after this, the rook goes to a to b8, and with the idea trying to attack the pawn, and you also can double up the b file. So this is the first 20 move, and the black is slightly better in this position. After this, the rook f to c1, trying to double up the c file, and with the rook to capture the pawn, or you have the rook to c5 and capture the a5 pawn. Then rook b5 was played to prevent the rook to goes to c5. After this, the knights move to d2 and trying to play with the queen side area. Another suggestion you can play is bishop take c7, and if your queen capture, queen takes c7, then the queen can play a beautiful sacrifice by playing queen takes b5, and this white will be clearly better, because if you capture the queen with the pawn, c takes b5, then c7, and after this exchange, the white will be winning by 2+ with the exchange of the rook and the bishop, the rook and the knight. So after rook b5, knight to d2 was played, and after this, the bishop to h6 and trying to pin the knight. And now the knight cannot move. If you move, the black will capture the rook. And here the rook just moved to rook 1 to c2, trying to maintain the c file attack. Another suggestion is you can play is rook to f5, rook to c5, And if you move away the rook, such as move back to b6, then the white will just win the pawn. Rook takes a5. So therefore, if you move rook to c5, the black can just capture back the rook, and after capture, then the rook will just attack the a5, and this will force the black to defend the pawn. So back to this position, rook 1 to c2 was played, and after this, the black play rook to e1 check and control the rank 1. After this move, the best way to play would be knight to f1 to prevent the check. And if you move knight to f1, then the rook can go to b1 and trying to attack the pawn. And here you have 3 pieces attacking it, while the white only have 2 pieces. And in this position, the black is clearly better and will be winning pawn. So in the actual game, king h2 was played. And this is a tactical blunder, and with this move, the black win the game and mate in 3. I give a couple of seconds to figure out how the black play and win the game in 3. Well, congratulations for those who found the answer, and for those who like to enjoy the show, here are the moves that the black play and win the game. After 24 moves, the black move rook to h1 and check the game the king. And this is one of the beautiful move, and this is one of the beautiful sacrifice that the black play. And with this, the white resign the game. And if you want to continue the game, there's only option to prevent the check is to use the king to capture the rook. And after capture the rook, then you have a queen capture the pawn and check the king. And the pawn cannot capture because the bishop is pinning the pawn. And after this move, the queen can just capture the pawn and easily check the king. And here the queen capture and check the king. And again, there's nothing much the white can do. If you want to block the check by using the bishop, then the queen will just capture the g2 pawn and it will be a checkmate. Back to this position, and if you move the king to g1, and the same thing will happen again with the queen capture the pawn and is protected by the bishop, and again the king has no place to move and it will be checkmate. So with this, thank you.